And part of the human toll of all of this is the mental toll here. So the condo collapse has been mentally grueling, especially for those you saw there working on the ground.
And our Eden Shekel is live with what mental health experts are saying. Eden.
While first responders are trained to deal with emergencies, mental health experts say nothing can truly prepare them psychologically when faced with a mass tragedy like the one we saw at the Champlain Towers South. Even those not directly impacted by the disaster can also suffer mentally and emotionally.
The building is gone. There's no elevators. This is nothing. I mean, it almost resembles the Trade Center.
It's a scene that some first responders refer to as reminiscent of 9/11.
You do the best you can to evacuate the people that you can get to without putting yourself in a risk of further collapse.
As many as 20% of those combing through the debris in a desperate search for life may eventually suffer from PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental health disorder that is characterized by experiencing or witnessing a terrifying event and having flashbacks, nightmares, severe anxiety, and re-experiencing of the event.
Experts say right now many people, both directly and indirectly impacted by this tragedy, are dealing with the stress of the unknown.
So this kind of a disaster takes place. We go back to a reference in our mind of what has happened and how we handled it. But when something like this works tragically, the unknown becomes that really dark space that we can go into if we're not careful.
Then there's the impact of dealing with grief after a disaster.
First stage of grief is shock. And that's a really good thing because we become anesthetized. So we have a chemical numbing effect that takes place in our bodies. Our minds can adapt to it, but eventually that wears off. It takes days for that to wear off. But when there's tragedy like this and there's an uncertainty, that can be prolonged.
And experts say those suffering from PTSD need to be given time to process their emotions and reactions at their own pace.
It turns out that most people will recover from this tragedy and be resilient. However, there are going to be people that will suffer debilitating symptoms that will require professional help in the way of psychotherapy or medication or both.
And experts say it's important not to press someone to talk about their feelings. That may only create more emotional turmoil. Let them speak when they're ready and just be prepared to listen.
All of that is such great advice. Thank you, Eden.